Welcome back to Danganronpa. When we left off, we went through a relatively short investigation segment. I mean, it was still like 40 minutes or so, but that's like, compared to some of the other ones, everyone had heard Monokuma's proclamation, and they were gathered at the Red Wolf as soon as we were all there.
Monokuma appears!
Hello? 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 Hello?
Wrong!
Nope, not multiplication. It just looks that way because of an illusion. I'm moving so fast it only looks like I've multiplied. Can you guys tell which one is the real Monokuma?
Whew.
Can you just get on the elevator already?
Boy!
You're not playing along!
Stop talking.
We're not here to play with you.
Okay.
Stop talking. Okay, fine.
Hey!
And if everyone's here and ready to go, please board the pain train! Elevator. I'll see you guys down there.
Let's go.
Okay then, shall we?
Please!
Hold on, I'm not mentally prepared
What the
yet.
heck?
You'll never be mentally prepared. You can't run away anymore, hero. You're gonna pay for your sins.
What the heck?
I told you already, I didn't do it! For serious! That reminds me. Did you ever find the other costume? Was it not? Well, no, but... How unfortunate. Then it would seem we have our concludes. No! This isn't the place to talk about it. Save your accusations for when we get to the courtroom.
That's right.
She's right. Let's get down there first. Then the story can really begin. Yeah, good idea. That's right. I have to do it. I can't let whoever killed Hifumi and Taka get away with it. For everyone who's still alive. For the two who lost their lives. The one who killed Hifumi and Taka. The one who killed two of our friends. The killer is... someone right here. No. I took one last deep breath and exhaled slowly. I began to walk towards the elevator. Once everyone was on board, the doors closed on their own, and the steel box began to move. The clunking of the elevator kept us company as we fell further and further down. There was no going back. Until we settled all this, we couldn't go anywhere. I'm not sure how long it was before the elevator finally came to a stop. The elevator doors slid open, opening up onto a cruel fate. When I see all of you gathered together like this, I realize just how few of you there are left! Your school life is slowly reaching its climax. I'm so proud! Only because of you. Why? Why are you making us do such cruel things to each other?
What?
What? Do you really hate me so much? But I'm so cute!
Come on.
Stop goofing around and begin the trial. Stop talking. Don't rush me. Of course I'm gonna start it! I would never be like, stay tuned for the action-packed first trial after this commercial break. See, if I hadn't ended the episode, like, before we came in here, that line actually would have been a great place to end the episode. I'd never hold out on you like that. Okay, let's begin. Get to your assigned seats. Does anime... I know there's a Danganronpa anime. It would be funny if that line was in the anime, and then immediately following it was a commercial break. And so, the curtain opened once again. A deadly judgment, a deadly deception, a deadly betrayal, a deadly riddle, a deadly defense, a deadly fate, a deadly class trial? That's skills. I just realized I didn't equip any new skills last time. No. Okay. I don't even have enough skills for... I don't even have enough skills to actually, like, equip for all my FP points. That's class trial. All right.
Let's begin with a basic explanation of the class trial. So, your votes will determine the results. If you can figure out who done it, then only they will receive punishment.
Yeah. We already know who did it.
It was Hiro.
that?
He does not have an alibi for when the murders took place, and we found him in that suit.
Don't try and deny it! You killed them!
I didn't! Someone knocked me out! I was asleep the whole time! I don't know anything about it!
Shut your murdering mouth, murderer!
Rich comes
Who are you calling a murderer?
Yeah.
I am sorry to say,
Shut up,
Hiro,
Jill.
but we do have evidence. Blueprints for the suit. Parts we assume were used to build it. And all of it was found in your room. You have to admit, the evidence is quite compelling. It points to
honestly
you
have no
as having
idea where
created the
this case
suit
is gonna
and
go.
wearing it while
Other than
committing
the fact
crime
that it's
after
probably
crime.
not Hiro.
How many times do I have to tell you? I don't know!
Is Hiro really the killer, or anything else? We have to make that clear. Make your argument. Make your argument. Hero's message. Hero's message.
Everything we found in your room. The blueprints, the suit parts, they are all proof enough that you are the culprit.
I don't know anything about that stuff! It's not true! It's a conspiracy!
Hiro, why? Why did you kill them?
No! Just hold on a second!
I mean, looking at the blueprints, that handwriting is awful messy. If I remember right, Hiro's handwriting is
Everything we found in your room. The blueprints, the suit part, that you are the culprit.
yeah, there's
It's not true!
Hiro, why?
No! Just hold on a second!
I am gonna
Everything we
slow
found in
down.
your room. The blueprints, the suit part.
No, that's wrong!
No, that's wrong!
Are we sure Hiro really...
What do you mean?
Well, take a look at this. It's the note that Hiro wrote, asking everyone to meet up after Alter Ego disappeared. The handwriting's obviously different, wouldn't you say? When you compare it to the blue...
There's no way you could think the same person made both of them.
Unless that person made it a point to disguise their handwriting.
No, the differences are bigger than that, I think.
Come on! I'm not smart enough to think of trying to change my handwriting anyway.
So, Makoto, are you saying you don't think Hiro's the culprit?
And he's not the only one. I think Hiro's innocent as well.
What?
Then who was in that Robo-Justice suit? Is it like Hiro said? Was there really someone running around in a second suit?
The suspicious individual hidden within the suit. Go ahead, Makoto. Tell them who it was.
What? Hello? And of course he passes it off to me.
So, who was in the Robo-Justice suit?
We're like 5 seconds into the case. How am I supposed to know who was in this suit? Hiro, the Illuminati, or Hina? Hina? What? What? Well, I mean, obviously,
I got it!
I think he was in the suit,
Other than
but I don't
Hiro,
think it's him.
I can't think of anyone else it could have been. Obviously, he was the one in that particular suit. And we never found any kind of second suit.
Then there can be no doubt. Hiro is the prime suspect.
That doesn't make any sense. You just said Hiro didn't do it.
It makes perfect sense. Hiro was the suspicious individual in the suit, but he's not the culprit.
So what you're saying is...
That's right. The culprit in this case has nothing to do with being in the Robo-Justice suit.
What? Now that's a bold assumption.
And what reason do you have to make such a statement? You do have a reason, yes?
Of course. But before we get to that, there's something else we need to clarify first. So let's get that out of the way.
Hey, stop trying to boss us around.
All things have a proper order.
So what is it? What needs to be clarified?
We must clarify the method of transportation for Taka's lifeless body. It would seem that his corpse was moved using certain particular items. Makoto, can you tell us what they were?
What? Oh, well, actually, I know. Dude, I like how... the blue tart... This one's actually...
I got it!
There's more than one, yeah.
I got it! They were a dolly and a tarp, right?
What?
So,
Hello?
let's see. Taka's body disappeared
Oh,
from
no,
the
okay,
equipment
I was
room.
right. Byakuya
And then we
was
rediscovered it in the repository. And when we found it for the second time, it was wrapped in a blue tarp, right?
Yeah.
It was the same tarp that, up until then, was stored in the equipment room. So the killer must have seen it there and decided to use it when they moved Taka's body. That way, they wouldn't leave any bloodstains while they were moving it.
Okay, that explains the tarp. And the dolly?
And the
Same
dolly.
thing.
And the dolly.
I'm sure the dolly was in the equipment room when we first found Taka's body there. But when the body disappeared, so did the dolly.
The dolly.
Later, when Taka's body reappeared in the repository, so did the dolly.
So did the dolly.
In other words, you think they used the dolly to move the body. Am I right?
Right.
But are you sure you are not mistaken?
Huh?
Are you absolutely positive the dolly was in the equipment room when we found Taka's body? That dolly was made specifically for moving large objects between the repository and the art room. It would be very strange indeed to discover it had made its way to the equipment room. Is it not possible that it was in the repository all along, and you simply didn't realize it?
She's raised an objection. How do you respond?
Objection,
There is
Your Honor!
no shame in being wrong. Nobody
Wait,
expects
hold on, I
much
just
from you
realized I
and
wasn't
me.
listening at all to any of this. Just scroll up a little bit. See, this... No shit would be wrong. She is an objection. I'm possible this was in the repository all along.
We have all accepted the fact that you rarely understand what is
Hello?
going on around you.
I literally saw, well... Okay. I didn't solve the first... I didn't solve the first case. Kyoko basically solved that for me, but I literally solved the second case. Like, Byakuya was helping me, but he was also bullshitting. So, I pretty much had to do everything myself. Where it was going on around me. Frick off. I guess I should. Oh. Okay. But I only destroy one segment per thing. That's weird. Oh god, we're doing this already?
You have it wrong. I cannot agree. You are a fool. So pathetic. Lies will get you nowhere. Do your worst. Away with you. You miserable wretch. I cannot agree. You are a fool. Lies will get you nowhere. Do your worst, you miserable wretch.
Whoa.
You have it
Oh
wrong.
my god, I have to press tab for
I
everything.
cannot agree.
Why are these segments so terrible?
Lies will get you nowhere. Do your worst. Away with you. You miserable wretch. I cannot agree. You are a fool. Lies will get you nowhere. Do your worst.
Stop!
You miserable wretch. You have it wrong.
Get out of the negative! Oh my god. What a terrible segment of the game. What a terrible gimmick. Uh-oh, have we already come to the end of the debate? Now they're all gonna choose you for some reason, even though Hero is the one they would actually choose. Yes, I want to give them.
I refuse to give up
The
yet.
bullet time minigame is bad, dude. And now there's a reloading function, so it's even worse. Not at all. Go away. We get...
You have it wrong. I cannot agree. You are a fool. So pathetic. Lies will get you nowhere. Do your worst. Away with you. You miserable wretch. I cannot agree. You are a fool. Lies will get you nowhere. Do your worst, you miserable wretch. You have it wrong. I cannot agree. You are a fool. So pathetic. Lies will get you nowhere. Do your worst. Away with you. You miserable wretch. I cannot agree. You are a fool. Lies will get you nowhere. Do your worst, you miserable wretch.
Fever time! Final strike!
I cannot.
This should prove it.
I'm glad Fever Time is literally like a cheat mechanic.
If you're
bullet
asking for
time
proof
minigame
that
is
the
so
dolly
dumb.
moved, I have
Like,
it
it's
right
not even,
here.
it doesn't even have a point. It's literally just like, you did me, somebody's mad at me, they don't believe me, and then I just shoot their opinion down.
When I found the dolly in the
Dumb
repository,
and it's bad.
one of the wheels had a blood stain on it. There was a pool of blood in the equipment room with a tire. The killer probably rolled the dolly through the blood on accident as they wheeled the body out of the room, and as the blood dried on the tire, they moved the body into the repository.
Like, I don't know. The trial segments are really gimmicky.
So there's my proof that the dolly was used to move Taka's body.
Jesus, Celeste really hate me that much.
Well, anyway, that was just something we had to get out of the way. Let's get back to the main subject.
Yeah, the subject of how Robo Justice didn't do it. Because if it's not a killer robot, what kind of robot is it?
I'm not sure that really matters.
I'd be happy to explain why the occupant of the suit couldn't possibly be the killer. If you look back on how the body was transported, it will become immediately obvious.
I mean, it doesn't matter that I have no idea. It's gonna give me a piece of evidence. I like how the first case, there was multiple bullets at one time, and then not once have I ever had multiple bullets at one time.
As we know, Taka was killed in the equipment room. And from there, the body was moved to the repository, correct?
Yeah, the culprit wrapped the body in the tarp, then loaded it onto the dolly and wheeled it off, right?
Wrong. Come on, Makoto, don't scare me like that. It makes me think something weird is going on.
Shoot!
I mean, think about it one more time. There must be a contradiction in there somewhere.
As we know, Taka was killed in the equipment room, and from there.
Yeah, the cop then loaded it on.
Now, keep in mind that the dolly does.
Well, yeah, but even without a handle, all you'd have to do is bend over. Then you could push the dolly no problem. So the killer just crouched down and carted the body off to the repository.
If you accept everything we just said, then you must realize that whoever was in the suit couldn't.
Sorry, I don't think I realize anything.
And then,
As we
and
know,
then that
Taka
end
was
bit
killed in the
basically
equipment, and from there.
Yeah, the cop
Like, this
then
is
loaded
not
it onto
Ace
the.
Attorney
Now,
level.
keep in mind that the dolly
Wait, frick,
doesn't
frick,
have a handle.
frick! What? I think there's some mistake working out.
Shoot!
Can't wait to die.
As we know, and from there.
Yeah, the cop
There.
then loaded it up.
Now, keep in mind.
Well, yeah, but even with all you'd have to do is bend over.
What? I
Then
missed.
you could
I
push
missed.
the dolly no
God.
problem. So the killer and carted the body.
If you
Not even,
accept,
like,
then you
purple
must
text.
realize that whoever.
Sorry, I don't think I realize anything.
As we know, and from there.
Yeah, the cop then loaded it on.
Now, keep in mind.
Well, yeah, all you'd have to do is bend over. Then you could push
Ah, trial
the dolly no problem.
segments
So
are
the killer just
stupid.
crouched down and carted the body off to the.
If you accept, then you must realize that.
Sorry, I don't think I realize it.
As we know, and from there.
Yeah, the cop then loaded it on.
Now, keep in mind.
Well, yeah, but even without a handle, all you'd have to do is bend over.
Yes, thank you.
No, that's wrong.
No, that's wrong. Great.
You're absolutely right that you could push a dolly without a handle if you stoop down low. But if you were wearing that suit, do you think you could actually get into a position like that?
What do you mean?
Think back to what you said when we were all checking out the suit together. Remember? When you're in that suit, not only can you not see your feet, but you can't even bend at the waist.
Uh-oh. Ruh-roh.
Am I right about that?
Now that you mention it, yeah.
Yeah.
It seems like it'd be awfully hard to push that dolly if you couldn't bend over.
Well, what's to stop you from simply pushing the dolly with your feet?
When you can't even see your feet? You really think someone could kick the dolly all that way?
Yeah, it'd be totally impossible. Not that I can say for sure myself.
On top of that, if you were wearing such a rigid, cumbersome suit, it's very unlikely you would have the dexterity to go about wrapping the body in a tarp.
Well, I mean, isn't that just a matter of taking off the suit when you're ready to move the body?
There's absolutely no chance that the costume is taken off because you can't take it off by yourself.
I got it! I don't think taking off the suit was an option. If you remember,
That's true. It seems
Skip all the
impossible to put the suit on
flashback there.
or take it off without help.
Then, you really can't take it off by yourself? Hiro wasn't just making it up?
Of course I wasn't making it up.
if he could have gotten it off by himself, I don't think he would have let us see him wearing it. Showing up in the suit was basically an invitation for everyone to suspect it.
Yeah, that's right!
So, it's really, really true that Robo-Justice couldn't have moved the dolly?
To be clear, whoever did move the body, it couldn't have been Hiro in the robot suit, correct?
No, wait. Just a second, if you please. Have you forgotten about the picture that I took?
Yeah, okay, but that
You
was
all got
before
a
the
good look
murder.
at it, did you not?
Like,
The
way
image of
before the
Hifumi being dragged away by
Hifumi.
Robo-Justice? If whoever was in that suit is not the culprit, how do you explain that?
murder. This is kind of an annoying trial.
Besides, do you remember
they're
what
all
the
annoying,
now
but-
deceased Hifumi said?
How did you get hurt? That guy hit me! What guy? Robo Justice! Oh, that's why I decided to call him just now.
So long as those facts exist, the proper conclusion is beyond question. The individual inside the suit and the culprit are one and the same. It was Hiro, without a doubt.
Yeah. Yeah, that's gotta be right.
Hold on a second!
It's still far too early to reach that conclusion. Besides, there's no hurry to decide who did it. Before we rush to a verdict, shouldn't we explore every single possibility? Instead of seizing
I've got
on
my
one
major
viewpoint,
thinking
the
face
truth is
on right
uncovered
now.
by
I'm like,
analyzing things
what
from
is
every
it?
angle.
What could it be?
Perhaps, but where do we go from here?
Where do
Let's
we
review
go
this series of
from
unfortunate events from the beginning. Maybe we'll uncover
Series
something
of
new.
Unfortunate events. It's a good book series.
What a pain in the ass!
I don't disagree.
Why are you
but
Genocide
our
Jill?
lives are on the line. If this is
Why
what
are
it
you not
takes,
dead yet?
we have to do it.
Plus, maybe we'll get to find out where the heck Kyoko was when everything went down.
All right then, let's take another look back at what happened.
When all the characters you like are
suppose
dying,
we
and
could
Taka
start
is
with
still
this
alive,
morning.
Toko is still alive. Taka's
Four of
dead.
us
I
gathered
like Taka.
together in the dining hall. Makoto, Hina, Kyoko, and myself. We waited there for quite a while, but nobody else showed up, so we went to look for everyone. That was around 8 a.m.
And as soon as we split up, Kyoko went missing.
Soon after that, Hina found Celeste in the rec room and quickly came to get Makoto and me.
Are we
It
really gonna go
seems I
through
was
all of
unconscious
this
for
again?
about an hour after I was attacked by my
Dad,
mystery
my dad,
assailant.
stuff.
I know it was an hour because I remember being attacked a little after 7.
None of this matters because we've already read. We already.
That was when we saw Celeste's picture and discovered that her assailant had been wearing a strange costume.
Strange costume.
As it turns out, it was Robo-Justice.
Robo
It also
Justice.
soon became clear that this same Robo-Justice had abducted Hifumi. We were soon joined in our search by Byakuya and Toko, and then went on to find Hifumi in the library. He was injured, so we took him to the nurse's office and resumed our search for the suspect. But not long after leaving the nurse's office,
I saw someone moving around on the 3rd floor, and I yelled out to everyone as soon as I did.
We literally
And
already
then-
saw that. This is literally all just like a recap of the second.
But right after we ran into Celeste, who'd arrived after us, and she told us
I love going through the same series of flashbacks.
I think that
again.
about covers it.
Why did I even bother talking to Sakura during the
I see.
investigation?
The whole thing sounds exceptionally complicated.
It really is.
It certainly seems to me that these are not a simple series of connected events.
Okay, well, if that's true, then what?
Rather than a single series of events, I think we have to consider each murder a separate situation.
So like.
And from there,
maybe
we can
different
uncover the
people did each
contradictions
murder?
surrounding all of them. Now then, let's get started, beginning with what happened to Taka.
beginning with what happened to Taka. I mean, Hifumi was the one killed before Taka, right? Unless it's different. Unless that's actually not the case.
So, I wonder if he died before Hifumi, or perhaps it was after?
We already know what order they were killed in. Taka came last.
What makes you say that?
Because of the numbering of the Justice Hammers.
It's true that Hifumi was killed with Justice Hammer 3, while Taka's death came from a swing of Justice Hammer 4.
See? So it's obvious Taka came after. I wonder if he...
Or perhaps it was after.
We already know what order the Taka came last.
What makes you say that?
Because of the numbering of the Justice Hammers.
Shoot!
So,
I wonder if he died before, perhaps it was after?
we already know what order they were killed in. Taka came last.
What makes you say that?
Because of the number...
It's true that Hifumi was while Taka's death.
See? So it's obvious Taka came after. So, I wonder if he... Or perhaps it was... We already know what order the Taka came last.
What makes you say that?
Because of the numbering of the Justice...
It's true that Hifumi was killed with Justice Hammer,
While Taka's death.
See? So it's obvious Taka came after. So, I wonder if he... Or perhaps it was... We already know what order they were... Taka came
Why
last.
are you missing?
What makes you
That
say
wasn't
that?
a miss. These segments are so...
Because of the numbering of the Justice Hammers.
Shoot!
freaking killed.
What order they were killed in.
I've literally shot at every single red option. What the heck?
So, regarding Taka's death, I wonder if he died before Hifumi, or perhaps it was after?
We already know what order they were killed in. Taka came last.
What makes you say that?
Because of the numbering of the Justice Hammers.
It's true that Hifumi was killed with Justice Hammer 3,
While Taka's death.
See? So it's obvious Taka came
Okay,
after.
I'm so confused. What? There's literally two options.
So,
How do I switch bullets? Are we sure there's not other bullets? I guess there's literally one bullet.
I wonder if he died before Hifumi, or perhaps it was after?
We already know what order they were killed in. Taka came last.
What makes you say that?
Because of the numbering of the Justice Hammers.
What? There's two options. The numbering and the other thing. Shoot! What is happening?
The numbering of the Justice Hammers.
What the hell? What am I supposed to shoot? There's two options, right?
So, regarding Taka's death, I wonder if he died before Hifumi, or perhaps it was after?
We already know what order they were killed in. Taka came last.
What makes you say that?
Because of the numbering of the Justice Hammers.
It's true that Hifumi was killed with Justice Hammer 3, while Taka's death came from a swing of Justice Hammer 4.
See? So it's obvious Taka came after.
So, regarding Taka's death,
That's the countdown.
I wonder if he died before Hifumi. Or perhaps it was after?
We already know what order they were killed in. Taka came last.
What makes
you say that?
I can't.
Because of the numbering of the Justice Hammers.
Aim and save.
It's true that Hifumi was killed
what
with
is
Justice Hammer 3, while Taka's death came from a swing of Justice Hammer 4.
See? So it's obvious Taka came after.
What the frick is happening? Hello? Hello? I can't quit. I can't save and quit mid-trial. Why are the trials are so stupid? Hold on. God, it's like 10 o'clock. I don't want to do this trial anymore, actually. I regret many things. The first of which was coming to this school, the Hope's Peak, and the second of which is coming to this trial, which is really stupid and terrible. Danganronpa, dang my grandpa. Danganronpa, Brogan what? One. Walkthrough. I like dabbing. Called Galactic Hero. A next generation legend. Galactic Hero. Spoilers. The investigation and class trial sections. School life. Okay, great. Okay, investigation, which is stupid. Actually, the investigation. Class trial. Bad. Bullet blueprint. Losing hero. Class trial. Bullet bend over. With this class. The numbering. What order? Absorb bullet. What is that? What? Hello? What? What is an absorbed bullet? Is that like evidence? Oh, that's the, oh my god, I forgot that's even a mechanic, because this game doesn't, that's even a
regarding
thing you could
Taka's
do.
death, I wonder if he died before Hifumi, or perhaps it was after?
I'm tired, I should have
We
saved
already
this
know
for
what
another
order
day.
they were killed in.
What?
Taka
What?
came
Hello?
last.
Oh, no.
What makes you say that?
Oh man,
Because of the numbering of the Justice
What?
Hammers.
Hello?
It's true that Hifumi was killed with Justice Hammer 3, while Taka's death came from a swing of Justice Hammer 4.
What?
See? So it's obvious Taka came after.
So, regarding
What is
Taka's
this?
death,
The numbering on
I
what
wonder if
order?
he died before Hifumi, or perhaps it was after?
We already know what order they were killed in. Taka came last.
What makes you say that?
Because of the numbering of the Justice
What?
Hammers.
Why isn't this
It's true that
working?
Hifumi was killed with Justice Hammer 3, while Taka's death came from a swing of Justice Hammer 4.
See? So it's obvious Taka came after.
Shoot the numbering with an absorb bullet and answer what order. What? So, what does that mean? Do I absorb what order?
Regarding
or...
Taka's death, I wonder if he died before he,
Or perhaps it was. We already know what order they were killed.
Well, it
Taka
doesn't
came
matter
last.
because neither of them were!
What makes you
What
say
the hell?
that?
What's going on? Oh. Wait, it's not the right mouse. Then what the hell is the right white? Oh. Oh, that's the silencer. Ah, well, frickin' how am I supposed to remember any of that?
Because of the numbering of the Justice Hammers.
It's true that Hifumi was killed with Justice Hammer 3, while Taka's death came from a swing of Justice Hammer 4.
See? So it's obvious Taka came after.
Wait, what? Oh, right.
So, regarding Taka's
Wait,
death,
so
I wonder if, or perhaps it was. We already know what order they were. Taka came last.
I missed!
What makes you say that?
Because of the numbering of the Justice Hammers.
It's true that Hifumi was killed with Justice Hammer 3, while Taka's death came from a swing of Justice Hammer 4.
See? So it's obvious Taka came after.
F this game. F this game.
so, regarding Taka's death, I
Why do
wonder
I
if
not
he
have the
died
bullet?
before Hifumi. Or perhaps it was after?
We already know what order they were killed in. Taka came last.
What makes you say that?
Because
am I
of the
doing
numbering
the
of
right
the Justice Hammers.
It's true that Hifumi was killed with Justice Hammer 3, while Taka's death came from a swing of Justice Hammer 4.
See? So it's obvious Taka came after.
So, regarding Taka's death,
I wonder if, or perhaps it was. We already know what order they were killed. Taka came last.
What makes you say
Because of the numbering of the Justice Hammers.
No, I didn't.
It's true that Hifumi was killed with Justice Hammer 3, while Taka's death came from a
I'm
swing
about to go
of
ham.
Justice
I'm
Hammer
about
4.
to go ham.
See? So it's obvious Taka came after.
so, regarding Taka's death,
I wonder if, or
perhaps it was after?
we already know what order they were.
No,
That was the way I was supposed to do this, not the other way around. Okay, good. Okay, well then it's probably a good thing that this is the way around.
Hold on. There's no reason to assume that the hammers were used in the same order as their numbers. If anything, that's just another way the killer tried to disguise their action.
So you're saying the culprit wanted us to think the hammers were used in order,
There are just way too many mechanics.
but in reality, Taka was killed
and
before
none of them are
Hifumi?
used frequently enough to actually be memorable.
Okay then, let's see the proof.
Evidence that proves Taka was killed before Hifumi. There's something that relates to what time he was left. Hangman's Gambit! What? This is long. Oh, okay. This is... I mean, this minigame is dumb, but it's less dumb than the other ones. I don't know what the answer is for this one. Frick, I have no idea. What time he died, right? That's what we're looking for, right? Why can't I look at the transcript? This episode's bad, and I'm bad. This whole episode is bad.
Is this really the end
I think
for
I
all
used
of us?
the mic again, like stretching too much or something. I don't know. So, what do you say? Want to give it another shot? Had to Google the answer to the
I
last.
refuse to give up yet.
And then I think I turned my mic off. So that's good. Hangman's Gambit. Red. I didn't read the dialogue again. Red. Sweet. Wristwatch, right? Now where's my A? Yo, there we go. Okay.
Now I understand.
Now I understand.
I've got it. Taka's wristwatch. See? Look. It broke with the hands pointing just past 6 o'clock.
It must have gotten broken when he was attacked by the killer. Because as of last night,
Hey, you! So if it wasn't broken after 6 last night, then he must have been attacked around 6.
And that would be his official time of death.
But if that's true, then he was killed well before Hifumi.
And before Celeste was attacked this morning.
that's right. Taka was killed before any of the other incidents took place.
So who killed Taka? I wonder.
That simple fact slipped past all of us. We made the wrong assumption about the order of events, all because of those justice hammers.
That's exactly why the culprit wrote the numbers on each hammer and had them increase in size. That way, when we saw how they were used in each incident, we'd easily make that wrong assumption.
Now,
So that
if
was all an
Taka
elaborate
was killed around
setup.
6, then everyone's alibis for his murder go out the window. Because when he was killed, we hadn't met up in the dining hall yet.
I've got to be honest, I have a theory. I think Hifumi killed Taka. I don't know who killed Hifumi, but I think Hifumi killed Taka. And then there's a chain here.
That may be true in the case of Taka's murder, but all of our alibis still hold true for Hifumi's death.
That's right. With him, at least, we're all safe. When we heard Hifumi screaming, we were all together. Except for Hiro and Kyoko. Then we all ran down to the nurse's office, and that's where we found his body. That's totally true! We're all in the clear!
Genocide shit.
Oh, I know! They must have recorded him screaming on a tape or something, then played it later on!
I mean, that's not
If that's true,
bad,
where's the
I
tape?
guess, but
I don't know.
Don't just go making stuff up!
Anyway, we all have rock-solid alibis for when we heard Hifumi scream.
rock solid.
Since all of us
baby.
were there together, clearly none of us could have killed him.
And it does not stop there. There was also the moment when we discovered his body had disappeared. When his body vanished from the nurse's office, Hina and I were in the bathroom together, while everyone
Pause.
else was in the equipment room, correct? And then there's the disappearance of Taka's body from the equipment room.
Taka's body.
At that time, we were all gathered together in the nurse's office because of Hifumi going missing.
Well, don't forget, I was passed out in the equipment room the whole time!
Wait, then what if Genocide Jill did it? She could have dragged Taka's body out of there right then!
Even if she could pull that off, there's no way she could have done the same with Hifumi's body.
Hifumi is fast.
Because, as we just established, she was passed out in the equipment room when his body disappeared.
Well, that.
Besides, I didn't do either of them anyway!
In other words, it is impossible that any of us could have killed Hifumi or moved either of their bodies. On the other hand, Hiro and Kyoko had disappeared, so they most certainly could have done those things.
So what now, Kyoko?
For now, we can't get fixated on who did it, or we'll just keep going around in circles.
That's literally what we're here to find out.
So instead of who, I propose we start talking about how.
How?
In particular, I think we need to
How
figure
is
out
just
how
man.
Hifumi's
Can't spell
body
how
got
without
moved.
who.
That's true. We searched everywhere, but we couldn't figure out how to explain his body disappearing.
I'm actually gonna go turn. I'm gonna go turn the fan
And
off
according
just
to what
let the
Celeste
auto
said-
text keep playing. Hold on. Of course, the not voice acted flashback starts when I put the headphones down.
His body apparently disappeared in the 1 minute her and Hina took their eyes off of it. But to carry that much weight from the first floor up to the third in that short amount of time?
Hey, he wasn't
Oh
dead.
man, yeah! There's no way! It'd be impossible!
Well, what if I told you there was a way to make the impossible possible?
What? How?
If the dead body were to move itself.
The dead body moved on its own?
No! Not another... ghost!
I don't think it has anything to do with the occult. I think what she's implying is... we thought Hifumi was dead, but perhaps in reality he was still alive.
He was alive?
Are you saying Hifumi wasn't carried out of the nurse's office, but simply walked out on his own?
But I mean, we found his body. He was dead.
Perhaps he was simply playing dead.
That it isn't possible.
The idea that Hifumi was still alive. Really possible. Another stupid segment.
Are you saying that when we first found Hifumi in the nurse's office, there's a chance he was actually still alive?
No, it is impossible. Hifumi was dead, without a doubt.
And you know that how?
Surely you heard the body discovery announcement along with the rest of us. Hifumi's dead body had been found.
Oh, crap. Why did I shoot that?
Shoot!
Are you
Saying that when we first, there's a chance he... No. Hifumi was dead, and you know that.
Surely you heard the body discovery announcement along with the... Hifumi's dead body had been found. And that is why the announcement was made.
Are we really so sure about that? Maybe the announcement was intended to signal someone else's discovery.
What? Oh. Wait, the wristwatch. Okay.
Shoot!
I'm not paying attention.
Are you
I
saying that
already
when
know
we
what's
first
going
found
on here.
Hifumi in the
Not
nurse's
the right
office,
answer.
there's a chance?
No. Hifumi was dead, and you know that. Surely you heard the body
Hifumi's dead body had... And that is why the announcement
I
was
like how it
made.
gives me plus 1
Are we
second,
really
like,
so sure about that?
silence or
Maybe the announcement was intended to signal someone else's discovery.
What? Oh. Okay.
Are you saying that when we first found Hifumi and there's a chance he was actually...
No, it is impossible.
So
Hifumi was dead, without a doubt.
And you know that how?
Surely you heard the body Hifumi's dead body.
And that is why the announcement was made.
Are we really...
what is the purple blister? How does it even tie in? I don't see how the wristwatch helps for any of us.
Maybe the announcement was intended to signal
it's
someone
gotta
else's
be, like,
discovery.
grabbing somebody else's thing and then, yeah.
Are you saying that when we first found Hifumi in the nurse's office, there's a chance he was actually still alive?
No, it is impossible. Hifumi was dead, without a doubt.
And you know that how?
Surely you heard the body discovery announcement along with the rest of us. Hifumi's dead body had been found. And that is why the announcement was made.
Are we really so sure about that?
Dead body.
Maybe the announcement was intended to signal someone else's discovery.
I mean, this
Are
is
you saying
obvious.
that when we
I've
first
literally,
found
like, I've
Hifumi in the
literally
nurse's
called this,
office,
like 2 episodes.
there's a chance he was actually still alive?
Ah! Maybe you have some idea, but I don't understand at all.
Shoot!
Anyway, I don't. Yeah. So it's clearly a
Are you saying that when we first found Hifumi in the nurse's office, there's a chance he was actually still alive?
No, it is impossible. Hifumi was dead, without a doubt.
And you know that how?
Surely you heard the body discovery announcement along with the rest of us. Hifumi's dead body had been found. And that is why the announcement was made.
Are we really so sure about that? Maybe the announcement was intended to signal someone else's discovery.
someone else's discovery.
Are you saying that when we first found Hifumi in the nurse's office,
I mean, I know what it is. I just
there's a
don't figure out what
chance he
it
was
is.
actually still alive?
Oh god, I just don't figure out what 2 statements freaking.
Shoot!
Are you saying that when we first found Hifumi in the nurse, there's a chance he was actually still alive?
No, it is impossible. Hifumi was dead, without a doubt.
And you know that how?
Surely you heard the body discovery announcement along with the rest of us. Hifumi's dead body had been found. And that is why the announcement was made.
Are we really so sure
So
about
many
that?
like bits here. I can't.
Maybe the announcement was intended to signal someone else's discovery.
Ah, See, this guess and check thing, now this feels like some good old Ace Attorney trial stuff, dude.
I refuse to give up yet!
I can't give up now.
Are you saying that when we first found Hifumi in the nurse's office, there's a chance he was actually still alive?
No, it is impossible. Hifumi was dead, without a doubt.
And you know that how?
Surely you heard the body discovery announcement. Hifumi's dead body had been found.
Shoot!
Are you saying that when we first found Hifumi and there's a chance he...
No. Hifumi was dead, and you know that. Surely you heard the body. Hifumi's dead, and that is why.
Are we real? Maybe the announcement was intended to signal someone else's discovery.
Are you saying that when we first... there's a chance he...
No. Hifumi was dead, and you know that. Surely you heard the body. Hifumi's dead, and that is.
Are we real? Maybe the announcement was intended to signal someone else's discovery.
Are you saying that when we first... there's a chance he...
No. Hifumi was dead, and you know that. Surely you heard the body. Hifumi's dead,
That's what
and
I'm
that is. Are we real? Maybe the announcement was intended to signal someone else's discovery.
It's not even like the proving stuff. Like, that's fine.
Are you saying that when we first found Hifumi in the nurse, there's a chance he...
So
No.
annoying.
Hifumi was dead, and you know that. Surely you heard the body. Hifumi's dead, and that is.
Are we really so... Maybe the announcement was intended to signal someone else's discovery.
Are you saying that when we first found Hifumi and that there's a chance he was actually still alive?
No, Hifumi was dead.
And you know that how?
Surely you heard the body discovery announcement along with
Hifumi's dead body had been found.
Yes.
No,
Yes.
that's wrong.
Yes. Thank you. Oh. Feels good, man.
Was the body discovery announcement that was made really intended for Hifumi?
Of course it was. The announcement played right after we discovered his body.
Maybe. But that was also the same time that Taka's body was found.
That's right. It wasn't long after finding his body that we heard the announcement.
So there's a good chance we've made a mistake in there somewhere. I think we've confused whether the announcement was for Hifumi or Taka.
First of all, if 2 bodies had been found, there really should have been 2 announcements.
Maybe Monokuma simply got lazy and rolled them together into one.
What do you say, Monokuma? Any comment?
Well, it's a very sensitive issue, so I can't go into too much detail. But what I can say about the body discovery announcement is that it's only broadcast when 3 or more people find a dead body for the first time.
That didn't answer our question, man.
No, actually, that was plenty.
Okay. Did an announcement play when they went into the repository and found the bodies? Because if so, then that wasn't the first time, unless Hifumi wasn't dead the first time.
He said it's only broadcast when a body is discovered
yeah.
for the first time, which even if we find the same body again later, he won't make the announcement again. If that's true, then why was the announcement made again later on?
Huh? Later on?
Exactly. We heard the body discovery announcement twice. I got it! We heard it a second time in the repository, when we rediscovered the 2 bodies.
Oh, right. I forgot I didn't have it on auto. I'm so done right now. Why did I... A body has been discovered! I really should have just...
It didn't seem weird at the time, but it contradicts what Monokuma just told us, doesn't it?
Next episode, I should have recorded this at a different time.
Exactly.
I'm, like,
If
tired.
we were actually rediscovering both bodies, the announcement shouldn't have played.
But it did.
And in reality, when the 2 dead bodies were rediscovered, one of them was actually being discovered for the first time.
So, when we found Hifumi the first time in the nurse's office, he wasn't actually dead yet. Meaning, he wasn't actually found dead until we came upon him in the repository.
Yeah.
And that's just part of it. There's one other thing that leads me to believe he was still alive in the nurse's office.
I'm just gonna let the game do the talking.
Oh, I know! Because he was super good at playing dead! Bada bing, bada boom!
I hope this case has an interview. I hope this trial...
That is the worst logic I have ever heard. But honestly, I do not think there's anything that can prove he was still alive.
I'm honestly not really listening
Okay
to
then,
the dialogue.
let's take another look at the events surrounding the discovery of his body.
That's one advantage of the reading.
Then it should become clear whether he was really alive or not.
Myself is actually, remember...
This whole
paying
thing is
attention to
pointless.
what the characters say. I'm not paying attention at all right now. There has been proof that he's still alive. I have to find it and show it to everyone. Exclamation point. I'm pretty transparent when I start.
Well, here's one thing we do
And
know.
then I'm like, I shouldn't have started recording.
The first time we found Hifumi's body was in the nurse's
my
office.
life.
And then, while me and Celeste were in the
Trying to
bathroom,
hide it.
his body disappeared.
And the next time we saw his body, it was in the repository.
But when you compare his body before being moved and his body after being moved, other than the change in how it was positioned,
Must be whatever the next one was. In meaningless woods, timely.
Shoot!
Shoot!
Well, here's one thing. The first time we found him, and then, His body
And the next time it was in.
But when you compare his body other than the change in how there was no notable difference.
Yes! Haha.
No, it's wrong.
No, that's wrong.
In fact, there was his glasses. That fact alone proves that he was only.
Perhaps you'd like to fill the rest of us in?
When we found Hifumi in the nurse's office, his glasses were covered with blood. But when we found him again later in the repository, they were spotless. And I found the item he used to wipe them clean in the nurse's office trash can.
Yeah, okay. For once, we're just flat out presenting evidence like in the name.
It was a glasses cleaning cloth featuring a certain cartoon mascot. One look at the bloodstain on the cloth should make things clear. This piece of cloth was used to wipe Hifumi's glasses clean. And the mascot on the cloth is the same one that's on the digital camera, right? And whose digital camera was it? Hifumi's, of course.
The character was Princess Piggles from Demon Angel Pretty Pudgy Princess, I think.
I highly doubt anyone but Hifumi would have brought something like this to school.
I see your point. And the only people here who wear glasses are...
I wouldn't be caught dead using a tacky piece of garbage like that.
Byakuya.
A few tissues is all I need to keep my glasses clean.
Then there's no question. It belonged to Hifumi.
It belongs
So what you're saying is... What exactly?
What I'm saying is, the blood on his glasses was wiped away using his own glasses cleaning cloth.
Even if that is true, it does not mean he wiped the blood off himself.
But who would benefit from a clean pair of glasses
Okay, I
other
like
than
how
the
we're
glasses
all
owner?
conveniently ignoring the obvious proof.
That's a good point.
The fact that
And it must have been
talked
him,
to Hina
right?
said,
So let's assume that Hifumi was still alive in the nurse's office.
like,
He pretends to be dead. Then when he's alone, he wipes his glasses
why
clean
is
so he can
freaking
see.
out? That's the real.
Then he
the real
stands up
obvious.
and walks out on his own 2 feet.
Apparently nobody cares.
And with that, the impossible task of moving his copious corpse becomes possible, wouldn't you say?
But then, if he was just pretending to be dead,
How'd he die?
what was with all that blood? Was it paint or something?
The fridge in the nurse's office contains packs of blood for emergencies. He probably used one of those.
He figured if he was gonna play dead, he should go all out, so he just dumped it everywhere!
Thanks, Genocide Jill.
But he got crazy with it and had to wipe his glasses off when he was done! God, what an idiot!
And if Hifumi was still
Sometimes the
alive at that
pause
point,
between
the
dialogue
disappearance of Taka's
when
body is
auto
easily
plays
explained.
is, like, weirdly long.
It should be perfectly obvious who must have moved Taka's corpse.
Like, that Genocide Jill line was, like, one line, and... Sakura? The frick? Why is
got it!
Sakura not... Okay, why is
It could only have been
when you pick
Hifumi.
three, there, it's always, like, one...
While we were all gathered in the
Like,
nurse's
none of the
office,
other ones
he
were, like,
went to the equipment room and took Taka's body.
That also explains how the door to the repository got locked.
The door was locked? Well, after the bodies disappeared, we all went looking for them, right? So me and Sakura headed for the repository. But when we got there, the door was locked.
And the repository door can only be locked from the inside. Which means, when Hina and Sakura got to the repository, someone was already inside.
And it could only have been Hifumi, who just finished stashing Taka's body there.
He convinced us all he was dead, and when he saw his chance, he dragged Taka's body to the repository. So, Hifumi wasn't just another victim in this case. He was one of the assailants.
But that means he took part in the murders.
I just can't believe it.
If you're having trouble, would you like me to show you one more piece of evidence?
There's more?
Oh, absolutely. The single biggest fact pointing to his involvement has yet to be revealed.
The note.
You know what I'm talking about,
Yeah.
right, Makoto? The item he took off of Taka's
They
lifeless
literally
body?
telegraphed the answer for me. The second case was actually better about not telegraphing.
I got it! You're talking about the note Hifumi had hidden away, aren't you?
Hidden note?
That's right. We found it stuffed in his pants.
Caught.
What? In his pants?
Yes, his pants.
Okay, well, forget about the pants for now. Take a
Like
look at what the note
bandit
says.
Thing in that one case of Apollo Justice, with the like creepy guy that's like small in his pants. It was just like an annoying distraction.
That's the note I was telling you about. The one that told me where to go.
The one that told me where to go.
Huh? Wait, this one's a little different. In my note it said, Monokuma can't find out, so don't tell anyone else for now. Let's meet in the rec room at 1 a.m.
I see. Then this note isn't the same one Hiro got.
It's not the same?
In
just
other
said
words,
it was a little
the killer
different.
got in touch with another
Hiro.
person besides
Oh,
Hiro.
dude.
And that person could only have been...
What happened if I pick that one? Picking that one. His pants. Are you saying his pants are alive? That was definitely worth picking that one. Are pants people? Are there pants people? If I lose a heart, it was worth it. Hina, even if there are, I'm sure they're not here in this school.
Shoot!
Okay, yeah, I lost a heart. Worth it. Worth it. Not even
In
bad.
other words, and that person could
Not even
only
bad.
have been...
That was too funny.
I got it! That's right! Taka!
Pants. Unbelievable, dude.
The killer used this note to draw out Taka and murder him.
Hello? Over here! Objection! Objection! I don't really understand what's going on, but Hifumi had that letter, right? So whoever wrote it wasn't drawing out TikTok, they were drawing out Huffy!
That's the same voice actor who played Chie, isn't it? I mean, surprising.
Just to be clear, TikTok is Taka and Huffy is Hifumi.
don't-
Yes! Why must you ruin it every time?
Not enough time for this. Genocide Jack isn't scary, she's just annoying. Ooh, we got multiple.
Huffy had the note, right? Then the person it was intended for must have been Huffy!
But remember what the note said. What time did it say to meet?
6 a.m., I believe.
The time doesn't matter! The note has nothing to do with TikTok!
Hold on.
Huffy had the note, right? Then the person it was intended for must have been Huffy!
But remember what the note said. What time did it say to meet?
6 a.m., I believe.
doesn't matter.
Yes, it does.
The note has nothing to do with TikTok.
No, it's wrong. No, there absolutely is a connection.
Actually, I am starting to like this trial.
What the hell are you talking
The
about?
second case was better than this one, but this case.
The note said to meet at 6 a.m., which is the same time Taka was murdered.
This is kind of like Agent Smith. Like the third case is just like, I mean, not quite the same Agent Smith. The whole robot.
We've already proven that using his wristwatch.
Silly element to it.
But there's more. Look where the note says to meet. The equipment room, right?
I mean, granted, I don't know.
Which is where Taka was killed. I see.
So, Taka was murdered at both the time and place written in the note. I think that should be plenty to show that this note was definitely meant for Taka.
Well, when you put it like that.
There's also the fact that it was grabbed out of Taka's hand, which we should already have the evidence.
No further objections.
Then someone used that note to trick Taka. Just the same as me.
Gee, I wonder who that someone was. Couldn't be the person who hid the note in their pants.
The culprit really is a cold-blooded monster. Telling people they found a way out.
But if they gave the note to Taka, what was Hifumi doing with it?
Most likely, Hifumi stole it off Taka's corpse after he died.
Huh? He stole it?
Where's your proof? Go ahead, show us.
It's the slip of paper, right? Is that still in here? Yeah, okay.
I got it!
Got it!
When I searched Taka's body, I saw that his lifeless hand was gripping a small scrap of paper.
Rigor mortis.
If I'm right about this,
Rigor
the
mortis.
sheet of paper this piece came from is...
That was last.
I knew it! It fits perfectly with the note we found hidden on Hifumi.
So dead.
Then Taka's scrap and Hifumi's note.
Yup, they're from the same piece of paper.
Hifumi had the note meant for Taka, while Taka's corpse still grasped a small piece of that note. There's only one way to explain it.
There's only one way.
Taka died clutching the note. Hifumi tried to free the note from his death grip,
Death grip.
leaving behind only one small scrap. Did I get all that
I
right?
have a couple friends who listen to
That means Hifumi knew the note was important.
Weird.
Exactly. Which proves that he was an accomplice in the murder.
Whoa. Yeah. After seeing all this, Hifumi was super involved in this whole thing for sure.
I don't really like that.
In fact, he was behind the whole thing. In fact, he's still alive.
Hero,
Sorry,
come on,
no.
dude. Pay attention, man. There were two bodies.
When we found him in the
dead.
repository, Hifumi was truly and completely dead.
Well, except for the brief little.
The second
interaction
body
we had
discovery
with
announcement
Tina.
proves that.
So then, who killed Hifumi?
Whoever did is the mastermind, the true killer.
He was killed in the repository, so he must have been killed not long after transporting Taka's body.
So, he must have been killed after Taka's body vanished, but before we found both bodies in the repository.
During that time, we'd all split up and were searching for Taka's missing body.
Anyone could have done it. Oh my god.
In other words, during that time, none of us have alibis.
Wait, but me and Sakura were together.
I guess they have an alibi.
Stop trying to steal the spotlight, you stupid walrus!
Step off my
Who are you
white.
calling a walrus?
Anyway, when they were killed bothers me too. But there's something that's been bothering me even more.
And what might that be?
Probably something useless and.
The weapon they used to kill Hifumi.
The weapon?
Yeah,
So dumb.
because I mean, according to the Monokuma file, the way Taka and Hifumi were killed was almost the same, with them having similar fractures and all.
Gee, maybe it's because somebody was.
But Justice Hammer 3 and 4 were still laying around in the nurse's office and equipment room, right?
Yeah. Oh.
So if Hifumi was killed in the repository,
Oh wait,
the
no.
culprit would have had to grab one of the hammers,
Yeah.
kill Hifumi,
Yeah.
then put the hammer back where they found it. But wouldn't that be seriously risky for him?
I'm surprised. It seems there's some semblance of a brain knocking around that skull of yours after all.
Same. I'm also.
Hell yeah, it's packed in there good and tight.
He's right, though. I don't understand it either. The Monokuma file makes it clear that they were killed using similar instruments.
Instrument.
But if the hammers were already laying around those other rooms...
So the question is, how could the culprit have gotten their hands on either of the hammers? Personally, I haven't a clue.
So which hammer was used to attack Celeste? Number 1 or number 2?
For number 2.
Those were accounted for in other rooms too. And I don't think either one is big enough to kill someone.
Please keep talking.
Then,
Is it not possible they used a different weapon?
A different weapon.
I don't think it is possible. They were both killed with the same kind of thing, right?
So then, what was used to kill Hifumi?
Is there anything that like somebody has in this room? Like one of these people carries around with them that could use? Spotless hammer.
What was used to kill Hifumi? Was it Justice Hammer 3? Maybe Justice Hammer 4?
Well, whatever it was, there's one thing we have to figure out. How was the culprit able to move around so freely with the weapon? How did nobody witness them carrying it?
sounds like a Justice Hammer 5 is about to make its appearance! Check out murdergear.com/hammertime for more info!
What?
Well, one thing seems pretty clear. The murder weapon had to be one of the Justice Hammers!
See, I
No, it's wrong.
Looks like you won't be checking murdergear.com/justice.
The murder weapon wasn't a Justice Hammer at all. No, it was something completely different.
A hammer.
Seriously? A different weapon?
Not
Specifically, a hammer from the repository. The killer could have easily used that to kill Hifumi. Now, all the hammers in the repository were covered in flecks of grit and debris. But for some reason, one of them had been scrubbed clean.
Huh?
And the reason it had been scrubbed clean was most likely because it was used to commit murder. If the hammer got covered in Hifumi's blood, of course they'd have to clean it off. I'd also like to point out that the repository has all kinds of hammers. Big ones, small ones, and even some flat mallet-like ones. I think whoever made the Justice Hammers used those as a basis for their design.
If that's true, that would explain the Monokuma file's note about the wounds being similar.
So Hifumi moved Taka's body to the repository, where someone then used a hammer to kill him.
And whoever did that is the true killer. The one Hifumi was working with. And the one who betrayed him.
Hold on a moment. I still think it's strange to assume someone was working together with him. The way the graduation rule works, there is no benefit to helping someone else carry out a murder. So the idea that anyone would work together like that is simply ludicrous. We talked about this, did we not?
Well, I mean, I can see like Hifumi had a partner, and maybe that partner killed him so he could get the credit. But then, how did Hifumi get a partner? Why would he
Based on the rules that have been laid out for us, even if more than one person is complicit in the murder, only the one who actually carried out the act can graduate and survive. Assuming the rule holds true, it is simply impossible that two people work together on this.
That is how the rule was explained to us.
But that only really applies if there's one murder, right? In this case, however, there were two murders.
Oh, that's it? Literally just impossible.
Based on the rules that have been laid out for us,
Even if more than one, only the one who actually, assuming the rule holds true,
it is simply impossible that
That is how the rule was explained.
But that only really applies if there's one murder, right? In this case, however, there were two murders.
based on the rule, even if more than one, only the one who actually, assuming the rule holds true.
that is.
But that only really applies if in this case, however, there were two murders.
And then go through the text again.
Based on the rules that have been laid out for us,
Even if more than one, only the one who actually, assuming the rule holds true.
No, that's wrong.
See, I can actually, now that I actually remember the absorb bullet thing, I can kind of tell what the piece of evidence.
Since there were two murders, it's at least plausible that more than one person was involved.
Because I'm dumb. And so I had to look it up. Since there were more than two murders, it's at least plausible that more than one.
What do you mean?
If there'd only been one murder, then yes, the idea of an accomplice isn't really worth considering. Naturally, if only one person can be saved per murder, an accomplice has no risk versus reward, but
Risk versus reward benefit?
the payoff for working together. The reward that balances out the risk of taking part in a scheme. There's no point in being someone's accomplice if there's no benefit to you. However, if there were some potential mutual reward for the risk, then cooperation becomes possible.
You're saying that two people could act as each other's accomplices to commit two separate murders.
I think that's what the true killer told Hifumi. They would each have an accomplice for their crime.
But then the true killer changed his mind and decided to just wipe out.
And based on the case's events, Hifumi would have been the first one to act, murdering Taka. They made him carry out the first murder so he couldn't back out of helping them later on.
So in this case, there wasn't one single person committing multiple murders. Instead, each person killed someone, creating two separate incidents. And it only looked like one person because that's how the true killer designed it to look. A single suspicious
So why would
individual,
that suspicious
a similar
individual
weapon used in
decide to
each
switch
crime,
around?
disappearing bodies. By creating one seamless set of circumstances, they made it look like one person was behind it all.
I feel like the only person who would
The mastermind picked their target and managed to convince him to go along with their plan. And then, to avoid the no accomplices rule, they simply killed their accomplice. Which, if true, means that betraying Hifumi was part of the plan from the very beginning.
That's just awful! How could anyone be so cruel?
You think so? I can't help but admire its cunning. Still, their choice of accomplice seems odd.
Yeah, a little odd. Oddball. Knows the fact from the very beginning. Why she's been not she almost knows this everything. That's why she's kind of suspicious. Kyoko really is amazing. Although, think about it, she's almost too amazing. Yeah, like how did she know Chihiro was a boy? Like it's almost unnatural how good she is.
I understand how an accomplice could be involved. But then, who was the one pulling Hifumi's strings?
That's problem numero uno right now!
Killer manipulated to carry out a number of actions. In the end, the debates up till now, the way the case has been unfolding, consider all this. think it's Sakura. I just don't. Plus her and Hina together. That's like that. I feel like it's the genocide Jill, or maybe Kyo. But if that were the case, why is she like she's solving the case for us like she does every time, which makes me think it's not her. And oh god, I have 45 seconds to decide. Are you confident in your assertion? Huh? Perhaps you should take a second and think it through again. More slowly.
Shoot!
The evidence. Wait, but I already tried her. Okay, up till now, the way the case is unfolding, consider all that, really only one person. Yoko, I guess, never saw her. That would be my next one. Me? What do you base this on? Very much like that way, I don't really have it. There's no basis to claim another. So then, you point out the real thing.
Shoot!
Manipulated Hifumi. Wait a minute. Wait. You know who always seems to have a hand on manipulating Hifumi? This one, right here.
Here's my answer.
And you're also the gambler.
It was Celeste.
So you take the gamble.
So I'm the suspicious individual now, am I?
She's always had a certain persuasive power over her food.
I really do hate this kind of joke.
A joke? I wonder.
Yeah, I ain't joking.
So what you are saying, then, is that I specifically chose to work together with Hifumi.
With Hifumi.
The idea that I would choose to spend any amount of time interacting with him. That I would go within 10 feet of that shit for brains, that lazy, worthless, goddamn idiot! Pardonnez-moi.
Just to be clear, there is evidence to support it.
Is that so?
It is. Throughout the investigation, there was certain behavior that was common only to the two of you. Considering what we've learned so far, it only further proves that the two of you were working together.
Okay, so Celeste guarded the nurse office. Hina wasn't feeling that, so Celeste took her to the bathroom, giving Hifumi the opportunity to get up and go kill Taka. Taka's body, I guess. Yeah. And then yeah, there's a search. Yeah. Okay. my god, they made up the stories and framed the photo. Oh. Paper hidden in the
I got it!
The game is really fixated.
The behavior they had in common has to do with the suspicious individual in the suit, doesn't it?
Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
The only ones who ever actually saw Robo-Justice firsthand were Celeste and Hifumi.
Shush. The adults are talking now.
What? What?
Sorry.
That wasn't right?
As he said, only Celeste and
okay,
Hifumi
that was
ever
right.
laid
Just
eyes
being
on the
an asshole.
costumed individual.
Frickin' be
If we accept that Hifumi was one of the culprits, we can't help but suspect what Celeste has said as well.
Are you saying everything they told us was a lie?
After taking Hifumi to the nurse's office, we all began our search for this individual, correct?
Correct.
And not too long after that, do you remember what Celeste said?
I saw a shadow. Something moving around at the top of the stairs.
We headed to the second floor specifically because of what she claimed to have seen.
Uh-oh.
Next, to draw us all to the physics lab up on the third floor,
She let out a blood-curdling scream.
and when we'd all come to see what was wrong, what was it she said?
When she was up in the physics lab, she found that body? Celeste, what's wrong? That was a rather intense scream. I saw him. He's this strange costumed man. He ran off as soon as I screamed. Ah, I thought it was weird that the costumed man never actually, like, bothered killing her.
Once she'd done her job of getting us all up to the physics lab, it was time for her partner to get to work.
Okay, but I'm confused as to how her just thought this would be a good plan. Like, what exactly was the original plan for what he was gonna do once he was dead? Hifumi was not smart here.
It was to get us to divide into two groups. So that we would discover both bodies at the same time?
In fact, Celeste was precisely the one who proposed that we split up.
Oh my god. The manipulation. Then why don't we split up into two groups? I did not remember this at all. Only the hunter. That seems much more interesting. Very well. Then Makoto and Hina, you come with me to the nurse's office. I will leave the capture of this suspicious individual to Yoko, Miyakura, and Sakura.
Well, if Celeste and Hifumi were working together, all those chance events suddenly become connected. And on top of that, that piercing cry of yours early on.
The first one, he yelled twice.
That was to signal Hifumi, wasn't it?
Oh my god.
It was your way of telling him, we're on the third floor, everything's going according to plan. Why else would you let out a scream that could have carried across the sea?
I just realized another strange thing.
I like how she
When we
doesn't say
found
anything
Hifumi in the
before
nurse's
trying to defend
office,
herself.
who we now know was only pretending to be dead,
I certainly was not expecting this. I did not imagine that Hifumi would be murdered. She was the first one to suggest
Celeste,
murder.
you were the first one to say he'd been murdered.
The subtle
You
suggestion.
wanted to make sure we wouldn't have any doubt in our minds.
Actually, the fact that she's the ultimate gambler makes so much sense. Because that is her thing, right? Because she's literally like the whole thing was just her subtly manipulating us. Right? Yeah. She's got that poker. Just the subtle, like, manipulation of a liar.
I don't believe it. Everything, the whole thing was one big act.
Hina, you were with Celeste when Hifumi's body disappeared, right?
No,
Yeah?
walk away.
I was feeling kinda
When you
sick,
run.
so Celeste took me to the bathroom. Wait! Then that was...
She wasn't worried about you. She just saw a chance to help Hifumi sneak out of the nurse's office.
Each piece isn't much by itself, but start putting them together and the picture gets very ugly indeed. Wouldn't you agree, Celeste?
I have no idea what you mean.
Don't bother trying to deny it.
Stop talking.
You made one fatal mistake.
Oh, did I?
I didn't even catch it myself when you first said it, but looking back, I can say that that one little slip-up was your undoing.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about what you said after Hifumi's body disappeared and we returned to the nurse's office.
Say must really be enjoying this time of standing around. Frightened. Oh my god, she said they? Is that what it is? Just like those guys.
I remember her saying that too, but I don't understand what's so strange about it.
I remember
Then pay
that
attention.
was weird.
Sakura, Toko, and I were first to discover Taka's body in the equipment room. Then Makoto showed up and told us Hifumi had been killed, so Sakura and I left with Makoto. Once we were in the hall, we ran into Celeste, and the four of us headed to the nurse's office. Now, the entire time we were together, none of us said anything about Taka being dead. Think about it. Celeste's comment doesn't make sense. It was completely out of place.
Yeah, I see what you're talking about. Although I don't really get what it means.
You hear that, Celeste? Everyone's having some trouble understanding. Could you repeat what you said? If you're really not the culprit, you shouldn't have any problem repeating it, right?
Byakuya said that Celeste's comment doesn't make sense. What is he alluding to? Gee, I wonder. At least I think I know.
All I said was, they must really be enjoying this. Enjoying the sight of us standing around, frightened and confused. They must be positively elated. We are all going to die here. We are going to die, just like those guys died. And that is all I said.
Those guys.
And that's all it takes to finish this.
Yeah.
It's obvious, isn't it? What was so strange about Celeste's comment?
Don't expect me to do this. Figure it out for yourself.
Shoot!
I need to think about it one more time. There must be a consequence.
All I said was,
Was
they must really be enjoying this. Enjoying the sight of us standing around, frightened and confused.
Shoot!
I love striking out every
All I said was, they must really be enjoying this. Enjoying the sight of us standing around, frightened and confused. They must be positively elated.
file actually we're gonna use
We are all going to die here.
us all.
We are going to die, just like those guys died. And that is all I said.
And that's all it takes to finish this. It's obvious, isn't it? What was so strange about Celeste's comment?
Well, I know what's so strange.
All I said was,
On those guys.
they must really be enjoying this.
Us and all.
Enjoying the sight of us standing around, frightened and confused. They must be positively elated.
We are all going to die here.
Yeah, we'll skip this text.
We are going to die, just like those guys died.
Yo,
No, it's wrong.
I would be, text real
That's
fast.
right.
My,
There's no reason Celeste should have said,
My
just
toe
like
is
those
very
guys
itchy.
died. When she said that, none of us had told her Taka was dead.
Exactly.
her
And
face
we
is
didn't run into her until
That's so
after we were all out in the hall. So there was never any chance for her to have seen his body in the equipment room for herself.
So how did you know, Celeste? How did you know more than one person had been killed? And how did you know they were both guys? Because Kyoko had also disappeared, right? So she could have been dead too.
You all have such vivid imaginations. You know that?
Imaginations.
You claim that I was lying when I told you about the suspicious person I saw. Then what about the picture I took? How do you explain this picture of the costumed villain dragging Hifumi away?
It has to be some kind of setup, right? So let's put the suit on, and then she used the camera's timer to set up the picture.
Maybe
Have you
let
so quickly
everybody else
forgotten?
do this and
You are the only one who could have possibly fit into that suit.
Maybe they just like drag his
Plus,
body over there.
I happen to know that this particular camera does not have a timer. In other words, it is an unassailable fact that this is a picture of Hifumi being dragged away. If everything I told you was a lie, how can this picture exist?
Simple. Are we sure that's really a picture of the suspect dragging Hifumi away?
What could you possibly mean by that?
Surely there are other explanations than the one you've offered up.
No, there is no other explanation.
It wasn't a picture of the suspect dragging his away. The only other possibility is Hifumi and the suspect are dancing, Hifumi and the suspect have been drinking, and Hifumi is dragging the suspect away. Which one of those makes sense?
I got it!
Multiple choice tests were as easy as
It's
these
not a
choice
picture of the
options are, I'd
suspect
literally
dragging
have
Hifumi
a free
away.
A in every class.
I would say it's a picture of Hifumi dragging the suspect away.
Except for maybe the class.
That's certainly within the realm of possibility.
I like, if that's how easy multiple choice are,
The one being dragged off in that picture isn't Hifumi, but the person in the robot suit. We've simply been led to believe that it's the other way around. And the strange costume might only exist to lead us astray even farther. If you saw someone wearing something like that in this situation, of course you'd notice and be suspicious.
That's what happened! You put me to sleep and made me out to be the bad guy in all this!
Such a thing is utterly impossible.
but why?
Hifumi was dragging him away? Ridiculous.
Is it? I don't think it's ridiculous at all.
Then shut your mouth and allow me to educate you.
Dang. Celeste thinks she's proved the way she's dragging the suspect. Is that really possible? Costumes, blueprints, hero's method.
You dressed me up in that suit after I passed out! Then you just draped me across Hifumi and had him carry my weight! You tried to make me look like the bad guy!
Like I said, ridiculous.
Let me look at this.
As you can see in the picture, the suspect is standing perfectly upright. If the person inside the suit was unconscious, there's no way they could stand up straight like that.
No, that's wrong.
Celeste is slipping, dude.
No.
She's
Even if
slipping.
the person inside the suit were unconscious, they could still stand up like that.
I grabbed some
Because that Robo-Justice suit had a certain characteristic.
I just cut the part out of the grab it,
That's right! They totally made a mistake when they made it, so it couldn't bend at the waist.
I don't know if they made a mistake.
I'm not so sure that was a mistake. I think the suit was designed from the beginning to be used the way it was.
But why Celeste designed that?
Celeste and Hifumi took the suit they'd specially designed and stuffed Hiro into it. That's how they were able to fake that whole thing. The point of it all was to make us believe whoever was in the suit was to blame.
Well then, I suppose this is checkmate.
Checkmate?
Uh-oh. She looks like she's on the verge of a Ace Attorney freakout.
Don't make me laugh, you idiot! What do you mean, checkmate?
Her voice is completely different.
Celeste? Clearly, you want to cram me into your little guilty box. Well, there's one little problem.
What is this?
Have you already forgotten what Hifumi told us
Now
as he
he's
lay
kind of
dying?
doing the accent again. Well, now we know her accent's fake. Who's trying to kill you? Yeah, why would he defend her to the very end? Make it
When we asked him who had attacked him, his answer was quite clear, was it not? He said, and I quote, Yasuhiro. In other words, Yasuhiro Hagakure!
Right! But my name isn't really Yasuhiro! It's actually Taro!
No, it's
Your
not.
confusing statements don't make any sense. You're only
Yeah,
making
stop.
things more complicated.
Stop talking. As Byakuya.
He did say Yasuhiro,
Stop talking.
but are we sure he was really pointing the finger at Hiro?
What the hell are you talking about? I'll burn you alive!
Whoa, her
Kyoko,
angry voice.
what do you mean by that?
Think back to how Hifumi used to talk to us. How did he refer to each of us?
She said you're serious a lot. That's a Yasuhiro, not Hifumi. He gave everyone. I like that they
I
acknowledge.
got it! That's right! Our last names! He called us all by our last names!
So wait.
Exactly.
You know Celeste's
I know
last
I heard him say Mr. Naegi more than once, for example. So if Hifumi did mean to say Hiro's name, he would have said his last name, Hagakure.
So are you
I'm
telling me
sure
that
it was
Celeste's
just
last name is
incidental.
freaking Yasuhiro?
By chance, he just
Because that is
his
the most
first
annoyingly
name.
convenient thing for her,
Indecent?
and the most annoyingly
Don't talk.
convenient thing for us.
Random chance.
Don't talk.
Now isn't that a
Why wasn't
convenient
that- why
explanation?
wasn't that line just stop talking?
No, there's no reason to think he would have said the name any different than normal. But he must have run out of energy before he could say any more.
So Hifumi was trying to tell us the last name of whoever killed him?
Oh, so there's more to
But the name he said doesn't apply to anyone here.
it. Hey, wait.
Well,
Guess
no.
whose last name we don't
Hold on.
know?
There's one person it
Yeah.
could apply to, and that's Celeste. She never actually told us what her real name is.
What did you just say? To think you'd take your false accusation so far, I don't know whether to laugh or spit!
She loses
Come
the accent.
on!
I love
Enough with your idiotic blather! Yasuhiro is a loser's name! Do I look like a loser to you? Well, do I?
See, okay. I remember thinking her voice acting was kind of bad. Like, the accent always sounded really fake. But now I know why. It's because the accent is supposed to sound fake. And then here she, like, slips in and out of it. She slips out of it slowly and then, like, tries to cover up and calm down and go back to the accent. It's actually very good voice acting.
What? I think I've earned the right to be a little on edge.
Okay, then fill us in. What's your real name?
What's your real name? I mean, like, she could be lying to us whether she says it is.
Make sure your ear holes are wide open and listen up! My real name is Celestia Ludenberg. Could you please stop making me repeat myself over and over again?
Celeste still won't give up. So then, I have to do something to make her accept it.
Hifumi was trying to tell us something. He wanted us to know the killer's last name, Yasuhiro.
So the killer's last
If
name
there's
is
one
Yasuhiro.
person here who might have that last
That's so
name,
stupid.
It would have to be you, Celeste.
And I
You
love
haven't
that
told
the
anyone
person
what your
who had-
real name is.
how many times do I have to tell you?
And I love that the person whose
My
last name,
name
I love that her last name is
is-
conveniently the same name.
Celestia Ludenberg! God damn it!
Whoa, the text is upside down.
How long do you plan to go on pretending?
I love it when Master.
I'm not pretending. It's the truth. And since you have no way to contradict me, that's the only truth there is!
Dawn.
Moron.
Lame.
Hifumi he wanted us to know the killers. If there's one person,
It would have to be you, Celeste.
how many times? Celestia Ludenberg!
How long do you plan?
I'm not pretending, and since you have no way to contradict me,
Let's
No, it's
freaking
wrong.
go. Your E-hand.
That's it! The handbook!
what?
Anytime you
You got
turn
it
your
on.
handbook on, it shows the owner's name when it boots up. Monokuma told us all about it before.
This handbook is absolutely vital to a healthy school life, so don't lose it. When you start it up, it will display your name. Always make sure you have the right one. Now, this is not your everyday notebook. It has so many more uses than that.
So all we have to do is check her handbook, and that'll clear up everything. That's how we can find out Celeste's real...
That's an invasion of privacy. I refuse to cooperate.
Too late for that.
Celeste,
If you don't cooperate, we're all gonna think it's you, and then just make you feel.
can you please just tell us what really happened? Please. Just tell us.
Even when I'm put in check, it's just my nature not to give up. Because...
Back on! It doesn't even sound like the word because.
Until the game's over, you never know what might happen.
And now there's the anger.
Fine then. Let me settle it.
She has a unsettling voice, whether she's like doing the fake voice or.
Let me go over the case
getting
again,
angry.
from the beginning, and shed light on all your crimes.
It's manga time!
And that'll bring everything to an end.
Okay, so she's meeting with Asumi in his room. He's got some creepy idol posters on the wall. She gives him. God, why are the drawings of herself? Okay. What are these chips? Camera. Maybe she's giving him the camera. wall. Why is the poster in here, dude? Is that just like still in here from last time? Oh my god. Fooey. I really do like the art style for the manga. Just to say, watch. Chips? I guess it's chips. Maybe. It's kind of stupid. What is that even? Okay, so now Hero's here. They've gagged him and stuff. Trap him. I don't know what this is supposed to be. It's very disturbing. Hero comes in, and then it's gagged. What do they use to gag him? What do they use to gag him? I guess the gag is so now they're shoving him into the robot. Oh wait, never mind. Okay. This one goes here. I don't know what goes here. Taka's waiting around, like, where are you guys? Just waiting for Hammer 4. Where's Hammer 4? What is the picture? He kills Taka before the picture. He smashes him. So he's like, ha ha ha. Time is, that's 1 o'clock. Right, that's what it is. Wait, no, hold on. Swap those around. Now Hammer, well, yeah, now that Hammer's bloody. Takes the picture. I love the manga, the picture. Act 5, nurse's office. He's in the nurse's office. Bloodies himself up. Leaves Justice Hammer. It seems like the stuff from the last case is still just kind of sitting in here, dude. Oh wait, hello. There's a picture of Justice Hammer. Hold on. They're all like, whoa, what the heck? Then he's doing stuff in the tar. Taka. There's Taka's watch. I guarantee some of this will be wrong. And they're like, ha 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 ha. And they gotta wash off the hand. Is that it? Did I do it? Wait. I think there was one I left blank. Yeah, I left this one blank. Dang. Okay. Makes sense though. Oh, maybe. Oh, yeah, no. Watch goes here. He's checking his watch. That makes sense.
Here's exactly what happened.
Reenact. I guarantee something will be wrong.
Before anything, the killer persuaded someone to help carry out the murder. And that person was...
What? Oh. Oh, okay. Hold on. And that person was Fumi. Where's that picture of the Fumi? Just like that was. There it is.
killer is you!
That's probably not right.
Before anything, the killer persuaded someone to help carry out the murder. And Hifumi, with an accomplice, the killer was able to execute a number of otherwise impossible schemes.
Hifumi was dumb and agreed to I messed up. This case is stupid. Uh-oh. Well, it's really just the manga thing is very difficult at the end. And it's always like they stick it right at the end. It's kind of yes.
I refuse to give up yet!
See, wait, do I have to put everything back in the manga again? I should have known the trial would take like 20 years.
You! Before it, Hifumi.
Could've got this wrong. This time tick tock tock. It was wrong.
First, they convinced someone to meet them in the rec room last night at 1 in the morning. That someone they met with was Hiro. The murderous duo intended to pass Hiro off as the prime suspect. So when they met up with him, they drugged him, knocked him out, and stuffed him into the Robo-Justice suit.
What? Oh no, that's the pushing the tarp. I completely misinterpreted what that is. Yeah. Yeah, that one's on me. That's clearly him. Yeah, because they're just giving, camera, because there she's giving him the camera. So here, the panels are kind of confusing. The problem is I really don't know how, I don't know how to read these manga things. I know you read them right to left, but, that's about it.
Here's exactly what happened.
I don't know.
They drugged him, knocked him out, and stuffed him into the Robo... Next, Hifumi positioned himself to make it look like Robo-Justice was attacking him, while the killer used a digital camera to take pictures of the assault. They did all this just to create evidence that would put the suspicion on Hiro. When they were done with him, they shoved him, still unconscious, into the pool room locker. And then finally, at 6 a.m., they moved into the murder phase of their plan. They called Taka to the equipment room.
Smash it with a hammer! Actually, Celeste is
And that's where Hifumi killed him, making it the scene of the first murder.
Kind of she's like a crazy, angry lady with weird colored skin, very skinny, strange
The murder
accent.
weapon was Justice Hammer 4, which was left there in the equipment room. The reason Hammer number 4 was used was to create confusion about the order of the crimes. So, next they falsified 2 more assault incidents.
The only reason the only reason we need to really figure out what's going on is because, the issue with how Hifumi's body was moving. That's really the only thing that didn't make sense. Like, everything else made sense the way they set it up.
For these attacks, the killers pretended to be the victims, to solidify Robo Justice as the suspect.
That, thankfully, Kyoko looked at the Fumi's pants and found that.
The first fake incident was the attack in the rec room. There, the killers wanted us to see Justice Hammer 1 and the Robo Justice pictures they'd taken. They wanted to make sure we bought the surprise attack story. The second fake incident was the attack in the library. This time, they planted Justice Hammer 2 and an injured Hifumi to sell us that story. With these two incidents, the killers were able to create a certain preconception in our minds that the suspect was increasing the size of the hammers and attacking people in order as they did. We fell right into their trap and started looking for the suspect based on that. But while we did that, we left Hifumi alone in the nurse's office. This was exactly what Hifumi was hoping for. He took a blood packet from the refrigerator and Justice Hammer 3
That's a great phrase.
and turned the room into a crime scene in which he himself had apparently been brutally murdered. He let out a scream to draw us back, and when we returned, that's what we found. Meanwhile, the other group that had been out searching found Taka's body at the same time. So when we heard the body discovery announcement, we naturally assumed it was for Hifumi. We left the nurse's office, and Hifumi once again took advantage of the situation. He simply got up and made his escape. When we learned his body had disappeared, we all rushed back to the nurse's office. And once again, Hifumi had the chance he was waiting for. This time, he snuck into the equipment room. He wrapped Taka's body in a tarp and used the dolly to move it all the way down to the repository. That explains how each of the bodies disappeared. But even Hifumi didn't know what the true killer had in mind for their final act.
Probably stop. Good talk.
Their plan all along was to kill Hifumi and get rid of the one person who could betray them. And they did it using an ordinary, everyday hammer from the repository. That should cover everything that happened in this case. And the villain behind it all is... Celeste! Sorry, you lose.
I lost? When was the last time I was forced to utter such words? They hang heavy around my neck.
Then you admit it? You're the killer?
Listen to you, trying to take charge, as if you're my private instructor. I, Celestia Ludenberg. Actually, no.
Oh, yo, she's dropping the
Taiko Yasuhiro is fine.
Her last name is the same. It's so convenient for her.
Taiko?
Her last name. And annoying that the Fumi would just, like, say her last name instead. Just to, like, make things more difficult for us.
So, you finally accepted it.
I'm the kind of person, once I've lost, I don't like things to drag on.
Interesting.
Without that stupid fake accent. Chapter 3, Phase 1, Phase 2, blah 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 blah. C B A A A A B A A. Final results B.
Okay, Monokuma. I'm ready to begin.
And I'm ready to end the episode. Can I save and exit now? Yes, I can. Until next time, folks. Arrive! Well, next time we'll find out Celeste's backstory. Arrive!